Willkommen. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sean Huggins and this is React with Hugs. Thank you so much for being here. Today we are back with Walter's World and we're checking out mistakes tourists make in Deutschland. Oh baby, this should be interesting. But before we get into that, if you haven't already, then please consider subscribing, leaving a like on the video, leaving your mustard down in the comment section. All of that good stuff is quick, easy, free, and it really helps the channel a lot. So thank you in advance. Anyways, let's waste no more time yapping. What mistakes do tourists make in Germany? Let's find out if I have made any of these mistakes myself.
Hey there, fellow travelers, Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're here in Freiburg, Germany, and today what we have for you are the mistakes that tourists make when they come here to Germany. And I know we've got the 10 culture shocks and we have the don'ts of travel. Well, these are just the little tiny mistakes that tourists make that might take away from their great time here visiting Germany, okay?
Okay.
And the first mistake I see tourists make...
You guys are the experts, so of course you guys have to let me know if you've experienced tourists doing any of these things in Germany, or if any of these are fake or real or anything in between. You guys have to let me know.
When they come here to Germany is they think Germans are cold. Look, Germans are not cold. They're hard to make friends with. That I will not deny. But the thing is, once you make a German friend, they're a friend for life, okay? They will be by your side till the end. And what's cool about it is I kind of think of the Germans more like an M&M. They've got this hard candy shell on the outside, and it's hard to break through. But once you break through that shell, it's really easy to become really good friends.
Germans are M&Ms. Okay, that's a new one for me.
With a German. So think of it this way. On the outside of that candy shell, it's called Bekannte, or acquaintance. But once you break through, you can be a true Freund, a really good friend, and they will be with you until the end. So do not think they're cold. That's one of the biggest mistakes that tourists make, because Germans can be fantastic people. Take my word for it, okay? Now, the second mistake tourists make when they come to Germany is they think when Germans are speaking German, they're actually yelling. Well, that's not just the case. It's just German. German is not necessarily the most romantic language you hear. Like, how would you like to hear this? Ich liebe dich, mein Schatz. I love you, my treasure. Yeah, it doesn't really sound so sexy that way, right? And the thing is, when Germans speak, it does sound very brusque, and some tourists are like, are they mad at each other? Are they yelling at each other? No, silly, they're just speaking German. Now, the next mistake I see tourists make, and you see this a lot here in a place like Freiburg, we have a lot of biking, and that is getting in the way of a German on a bike.
Ooh, you gotta watch out for those bike lanes. That is a big no-no for sure. I'm always paranoid that I'm going to be standing in a bike lane on accident.
Look, if it's a bike path, leave it alone, okay? That is for bike paths only. But the thing is, the Germans will go out on their bikes on the bike path or on the road or on the sidewalk. And if you're in front of them, either expect a little ding-a-ding, ding-a-ding, like a really rude, like little bell ringing on their bikes, or a good old hello, you'll hear that. That's when you'll hear some yelling from them, okay? But just realize, Germans and bikes, you gotta be careful. Now, another thing is you might not want to do bikes going around. You're probably going to use public transportation here in Germany. Because I'll be honest, the öffentliche Verkehr, the public transportation here in Germany is fantastic. It goes all over the place. A lot of times you can just walk in with your ticket. You don't have to worry about too much. It's really great. But the mistake that tourists make are that they think that the Germans will let them get off the public transportation before they come in. Look, you've got to be ready for your stop, and you got to be ready to get out when it's...
Germans don't let you get out of the trains. I've heard that before, but I didn't know that that was a true thing. Interesting.
It's your turn to get out, because they're not going to wait for you. You got to, like, shove your way through out of the S-Bahn or the U-Bahn or the bus or the tram. Just know that. And again, it's not about being rude. It's just the way it is, because Germans and lines, they don't do a really good job with that, especially if you're going from a place like the UK or the US, where it's very much, we have our line and we stick in our line. Oh, no. Here it's like a gaggle of Germans just waiting to get in, okay? Now, the next mistake I think tourists make when they come to Germany is they think Germany is just beer, and it's not. You actually realize Germany makes some really fantastic white wines, you know, like the Rieslings. If you get a chance to take a Rhine tour or go on a tour of the Mosel, go to a city like Cochem or a town like Cochem to go see the wine production.
I don't think I've ever drank German wine, but I definitely drove through a lot of German vineyards, which is pretty cool. So Yeah, I guess Germany is definitely making wine. I just never had it before.
You will fall in love with the wines here in Germany. So don't think it's just beer, okay? There's a lot more than that. But a mistake I see tourists do make when they actually are having beer is they don't make eye contact when they cheers. Because
I've made that mistake before. Das ist verboten.
Germany, when you go Prost or whatever you like
Definitiv
to say, you always must make
verboten.
eye contact. Otherwise, you can have a few years of bad experiences. And another mistake I see tourists make when they're ordering beer here in Germany is they order a national brand like Beck's or Warsteiner. What you have to realize is when you're traveling throughout Germany, every city, every town has
you
its
gotta
own
get the
brewery,
local.
and you should be drinking the local beer from there. For example, if you're in Braunschweig, you should be drinking Walter's Pilsner. If you're in Berlin, you should have Berliner Kindl. You have all these local breweries, and so enjoy those when you are here in Germany, because you probably won't be able to have them when you're outside of Germany. That's when you can have your Becks and Warsteiner. Have the local stuff when you're here, okay? Now, going back to a mistake I see people make on the trains, is what you have to realize when you take the ICE or the fast trains here, you don't have to get a seat reservation. You can just buy a ticket and go. And so sometimes the trains have way more people than there are seats. So the mistake I see people make is they don't buy a seat reservation. I mean, it's like a few euros to make your life.
Oh, that's a good idea. Get your own little seat reservation. Fancy, fancy.
So much easier. Pay the money to get the reservation. Otherwise, you might be standing the whole way or sitting by the exit door on the ground with a bunch of other people. No, make sure you get that reservation, and don't be afraid when you see someone sitting in your seat to say, excuse me, that's my seat. They'll be like, I don't believe you. Like, look, I've got my reservation. Because the people that work on the train, on the Deutsche Bahn, they will ask them to leave too, so you'll get your spot. So don't be cheap. Spend that like 2 or 3 euros to get that reservation.
Well, this guy's made of money. 2 or 3 euros? Sheesh. In this economy? Good luck.
Have that nice seat on the nice trains. Now, the next mistake I see tourists make when they come to Germany is they confuse the inattentive service of Germans to being unprofessional, which isn't true. Look, what you have to realize when you come to Germany, it's not the kiss your butt, you are a god kind of thing that you have in the US or the UK. Here, the people, the servers are there to help you make your order or buy your clothes, and that's it. They're not going to go any farther than that. But what's great about it is they are educated in what they're selling, about the foods they have and things like that. So if you have any questions, like, hey, what would go good with this? They'll let you know. If you need another different size of clothing, they'll be glad to get it for you, because they are very professional and well educated in what they're doing. But don't expect it to think it's like over the top friendliness. They don't do that. But don't think it's because they're trying to be mean to you or something. That's just how service is here. It's more kind of efficient effectiveness versus over friendliness. Now, another mistake I see tourists make has to do with they're at their hotels, and that is expecting more than cold cuts and sliced cheese with some bread.
Oh, dude, the German breakfast. So disappointing for me. Not my kind of a breakfast. The cold cuts with cheese on like a Brötchen or something just doesn't cut it for me, you know?
Or rolls in the morning.
At least give me some
sometimes
eggs,
you have a Spiegelei, like scrambled eggs or some boiled eggs and stuff like that. But honestly, German breakfast really is cold cuts and slices of cheese on bread. And that's what we have here. I mean, that's how it is. And honestly, if you talk to any hoteliers in the US, the UK, they'll let you know that German tourists will ask them all the time, where's your Brötchen, the rolls, and where's the ham and the cheese? That's what I want. Because that's what breakfast is here. And a lot of tourists come here and they're kind of disappointed because they're looking for their...
Yeah, I don't like sandwiches, really. So it's basically just a sandwich for breakfast. And yeah, if I could get eggs, if I could get some scrambled eggs, I'm good. That's it. I'm a simple man. Scrambled eggs and I'm good. If it's just a sandwich, I'm a little bit disappointed.
Pancakes and waffles and stuff like that, and that's not how it works here,
I don't need any of that stuff.
But the thing is, those
just
rolls,
scrambled eggs.
Go and try
nice.
some of them. They're fantastic with the seeds on them, the different flavors. Oh my gosh, they're so good. So just fall in love with the bread and you'll be all good, okay? Now, another mistake that I've made too many times in my years living here in Germany is never, ever, ever wish a German happy birthday before their birthday. Because it's...
Oh, dude, I've made this mistake before too. Yeah, this is not a thing in America. In America, no one really cares if it's before or after your birthday or whatever. Like, yeah, no one really cares. It's not considered bad luck or rude or anything, like nothing. And then in Germany, it's like, oh yeah, tomorrow's your birthday. Happy early birthday. And it's like, how could you say that to me? You might as well have spat in my face.
It's like the most bad luck. Like, you want me to have a bad birthday? You want me to die before my birthday? Kind of like greeting you can give someone. So just make sure it's always better to be late when it comes to birthday wishes than early, because they will not appreciate it. And that kind of goes along with another mistake tourists make when they come here, and that is thinking that time isn't important. Look, in Germany, being on time is vital. When a meeting starts at 9 o'clock,
always,
it's not you show up at 9. It is you are already sitting at the meeting table with everyone, with all your documents out, your computer up, ready to go 5 minutes before 9. So at 9 o'clock, the meeting starts. Not the hellos, but we actually start getting down to business. So make sure if you're getting invited to a German's house, you're going to be meeting people for dinner, you are on time. That part is very important. The birthday thing, yeah, you can wish them a happy birthday after the birthday, okay? Now, going back to the public transportation, I have another mistake people make is, one, they do not validate their tickets when they're taking the S-Bahn or the U-Bahn or the tram. Look, when you buy a ticket for different things, whether you're Berlin or Munich or other places, you're going to get your ticket. And some of them will, they'll already say it's validated, but some of them you have to punch the ticket to validate it to get it going, because though you can just walk on the trains and the U-Bahns and stuff like that and the subways and things, that doesn't mean that they don't have checkers occasionally. And so if you don't do that, you might find someone with a badge going, hey, where's your ticket? If you don't have it, you can get a fine, okay? So make sure you don't forget to validate your ticket. Also, when you're buying your tickets for the bigger cities like Berlin or Munich, make sure you know which zones you're going to be in, because you might be...
Oh, damn. Okay, that's good advice for when I'm on the Berlin U-Bahn next time, aka for the first time.
Going into different zones, and you might have a ticket, but it doesn't cover that zone, and so you might get a fine for that. Now, it doesn't happen a lot, but I do want you to be careful with that. Now, another thing with the tickets I would want to mention, a mistake that people make, is they just take the ICEs or the fast trains. Look, if you're going to be just traveling around a region like in Bavaria or around Brandenburg or something like that, get the Landesticket or the land ticket, like a state ticket.
Whoa.
And what it does, it lets you kind of travel on the slower trains as much as you want for one day, but it's like up to 5 people. Like, I talk about the Bayern ticket a lot because you can see a lot in Bavaria on the local trains. So why not pay 50 or 60 euros to get like 5 people for a whole day going around, and you can see stuff, instead of spending 50 euros on one ticket for one person going one way on the ICE. Okay, so don't make that mistake. Use those tickets, especially if you got a group of people to do day trips. It really helps out. Now, when you're going around Germany, you might notice that sometimes your beer has one price, but they don't give you enough change back. Well, I have a little mistake that tourists make when they're here, and that is they don't return their beer glass or their Christmas mug or their glass or something like that, or their bottle from a drink or something like that. Because in German, they have this thing called Pfand. It's a deposit.
Oh my God, look at the nice doggy waiting in line for his beer.
US, we have deposits on some bottles in some states, but they're like 5 cents, 13 cents. Here in Germany, you might have 2 or 3 euro deposit on that Christmas mug that you need to take back. So it can add up. So don't make the mistake of forgetting to take those things back, because you can get some good money back for those. Yep. And my last don't for you is, don't think you don't have to move if you're sitting at somebody's Stammtisch. Look, a Stammtisch is a reserved spot for a group of people, and a lot of times at the beer gardens or the beer halls and stuff like that in different places, you'll see a little sign maybe on the table or next on the wall by the table saying, this is Heinrich's group's Stammtisch. And what a Stammtisch is it just means that, look, if that group comes, they get this table. They may have paid for the table or rented the table or whatever. That's their thing. And I know when you're a tourist, you're like, wait, I'm already sitting here. No. Doesn't work that way here in Germany. Those Stammtisches, that's reserved for them if they show up. If they don't show up, it's no big deal, but I just want you to have a heads up for that. Anyway, these are just some little mistakes I've seen tourists make coming to Germany over the years.
All right. Wow. That was very informative. But I'm curious if these are actually true or if they're kind of made up. So that's where you guys, the experts, come in. I'm counting on you guys to let me know, are any of these things actually true or not? So leave your mustard down in the comment section below. And when you're done there, consider subscribing, leaving a like, all that good stuff. It's quick, easy, free, and it really helps the channel a lot. So thank you in advance. But that's all the time that I have for today. So thank you guys so much for being here. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.